Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Leila and probably I should say welcome to myself because I have been away from this channel for 2 months. Anyway, now I'm back and today is 6th of June, which is a national day in Sweden. And during this day, people usually go out, go to concerts or visit any other events organized in cities. National Day in Sweden is also a special day for new Swedes because all municipalities in the country organize citizenship ceremony for people who have got citizenship in Sweden the year before. On this day, usually you get invited a couple of weeks before that. You visit the ceremony, you get your citizenship certificate, a table flag, and of course fika. And as you know, when you become a citizen of Sweden or any other country, you are eligible for this little book. This book, Passport. Having a Swedish passport is a privilege and I'm very grateful for it, and it's something that I don't take for granted. It has opened so many doors for me and it gives me a true freedom of movement and joy of travel. Every time I've traveled somewhere, I discover new things about the world, widen my knowledge about countries, but also I learn something about myself. And this is just one of the advantages of having Swedish passport. So today I'm going to talk about different ways and requirements that you need to fulfill in order to get Swedish citizenship and in the end this passport. The information provided in this video is from Swedish Migration Agency, but please keep in mind that there are additional terms, conditions, rules and exceptions to every point I'm saying in this video. I just have tried to gather the most general information about this topic. For a more detailed information and description, please visit the website of Swedish Migration Agency. This video is divided into 2 parts. In the first part, I'm going to talk about the requirements that you need to fulfill in order to become a Swedish citizen. And in the second part, I'm going to talk about some ways that you can't be a Swedish citizen. Let's get started. One of the first things that you need to keep in mind if you want to become a Swedish citizen is that you must be 18 years old. This is when you legally become an adult person in Sweden. You must be able to prove your identity with a passport or another approved official document. These documents must be issued by an official authority in your own country. If your passport for some reasons is not valid anymore, in some cases you can still send in it and show it that this is your identity. In some cases, your family members such as father, mother, spouse, siblings or adult children, they can also verify your identity. Please keep in mind that there are special requirements for passport holders of Afghanistan, Eritrea, stateless Palestinians, and Iraq and Somalia. The third point is that you must have lived in Sweden for a certain period of time in order to be eligible for citizenship. When I say certain period of time, it means that you need to have habitual residency in Sweden, which means that you are a resident of Sweden and you have an intention of staying in the country. The general rule is that you have to live here for 5 years uninterruptedly. Of course, you can go out you can travel abroad for your holidays, but just in general, the general terms is that you live here for 5 years uninterruptedly. Keep in mind that the reason for your settlement and the type of residence permit you have plays a big role. For example, if you are married to a Swedish citizen or if you are a sambo with him or her, that is, you have a cohabitance, that may give you citizenship after 3 years. But it's a very important thing to know that just being married legally is not enough. You need to prove to the Swedish migration agency that you really live together, that you have life together, and that you are not only married on papers. Another thing that you need to think about when you apply for Swedish citizenship, and it's the fourth point, is that you have to have an orderly life in Sweden. Now, when you apply for Swedish citizenship to migration agency, they always request additional information about you from 3 other authorities. For example, Swedish Enforcement Authority provides information about your debts. Hopefully you don't have any problems with your finances, but you have to keep in mind that this is what is important for migration agency. Also, the police authority provides information about your criminal background, if you are suspected in any cases and stuff like that. And the last one is the security service. They make a whole security check about your persona. If you have children under 18 years old and they also live in Sweden, you can include them in the same application as yours. Your children also need to have permanent residence in Sweden. You need to be the official custodian of this children, and you need to live together, like you need to have life together here in Sweden. An interesting fact that I read from the website is that if your children are at least 12 years old, they need to give consent for a citizenship application. And I was a bit surprised about this because, as I told you earlier, the official age when you become legally adult and when you can really decide for yourself is 18 years old in Sweden. But in this case, Swedish Migration Agency thinks that this kid, if at least 12 years old, can already decide for themselves about the citizenship in the country. I find this part very interesting and a bit contradicting about the 18 years old being the legal age of being adult and the 12 years old when you need to give your consent in order to be in this application. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this thing. The last thing that I'm gonna mention is it's not a requirement, at least not yet, but it's something that is discussed at Riksdagen from time to time. In order to get your Swedish citizenship, you don't need to know Swedish language, or you don't need to do any tests about the history of Sweden and anything related to this. But it's something that can come in the future, so it's also important thing that you need to think about if you want to apply for Swedish citizenship in the near future. So now I have covered the general requirements that you need to fulfill in order to become Swedish citizen. Now let's talk about the second part of this video, and it's going to be 4 ways that you can't become Swedish citizen. In Sweden, there is no territorial citizenship, which means that if you were born in Sweden to parents who are not Swedish citizens, you are not gonna get your Swedish citizenship automatically. For example, in the US, if you were born there and it doesn't matter if your parents are citizens or not, you automatically granted American citizenship. In Sweden, this type of citizenship is not exercised. It's impossible in Sweden to get your citizenship through military service. Again, for example, in the United States, you might be eligible for citizenship if you served in the US Armed Forces. In Sweden, you are not even going to be employed by Swedish Armed Forces if you are not Swedish citizen. Swedish citizenship is a requirement if you want to work at Swedish Armed Forces. And the same applies for secret services like SAPO and in most cases for the police. If you are not Swedish citizen, you are not going to be employed by these state authorities. probably also Skatteverket, the tax agency. And this is kinda understandable because if you work at these authorities, you get quite a lot of information about the country, about the citizens, and access to like secret documents. So that's why that's why it's impossible to get your citizenship through military service. In Sweden, there is you can inherit your citizenship, but it goes only from parents to children. It doesn't go from grandparents to children to grandkids. For example, in a country like Estonia, if your grandparents were citizens of Estonia for some time and then they left the country because of the several reasons, if you provide documents and you prove that your grandparents were citizens of Estonia at some point of the time, you might be eligible for citizenship, but unfortunately in Sweden it's impossible. A number of countries around the world provide citizenship to you if you make an extensive financial contribution to the country. For example, in Turkey, if you buy a property for at least $250,000, you are eligible for becoming a citizen in Turkey. But in Sweden, this thing doesn't exist. So you have to go through this normal path and live here for 5 years and fulfill all these requirements that I talked about earlier. Thank you for your attention and thank you for watching this video. I hope that you find it helpful, and if in someday in the future you decide to become a Swedish citizen, I hope that this video helps you. But keep in mind, as I told you earlier, check the official website of Swedish Migration Agency for all the details. Thank you for watching and see you next time.